Tonight, stunning new details and images in that deadly plane crash. Rock icon Billy Joel revealing a rare health scare and the severe weather threat as millions take off for the long holiday weekend. First, the new images tonight. Home surveillance video captures the final moments before that terrifying plane crash in heavy fog. Just moments ago, the NTSB said 2 systems at the airport, the weather alert system and the runway lights, were not working. 6 people are presumed dead. What we're learning tonight about the victims. Trevor Ault is back on the scene in San Diego. Tonight, the major health crisis forcing rock legend Billy Joel to cancel his summer tour. Joel took this fall back in February, and what the icon is saying tonight about his rare diagnosis and returning to the stage. Also tonight, President Trump ramps up his tariff battle, threatening the European Union with a 50% tariff just days from now. The president frustrated over stalled talks with the EU and why he's now specifically targeting Apple with a 25% tariff. Mary Bruce is at the White House. Severe storms take aim with millions on the move for Memorial Day weekend. A rare nor'easter disrupting record holiday travel. Lee Goldberg is standing by with the forecast. Tonight, new reporting in the horrific murders outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. The young couple days away from an engagement, shot in the back. One of the victims shot again, trying to crawl away. What we're now learning about the alleged gunman. Authorities on heightened alert across the nation. The showdown between President Trump and Harvard. A federal judge blocks the White House from banning the school from enrolling international students. The verdicts tonight in the Kim Kardashian robbery trial, her gripping testimony saying she thought she was going to die. What she's saying tonight. The rescue at sea, the cruise ship, and who they pulled from the water. And America Strong tonight, the emotional moment in the courtroom, the chief judge swearing in the new attorney, following in his father's footsteps.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis in for David. President Trump ramps up his tariff war while Harvard sues the administration over its attempts to block international students. But we do begin tonight with new reporting on the horrific plane crash into a neighborhood in San Diego. The plane going down in heavy fog, all 6 people on board now confirmed dead. Late today, the revelation from investigators that the airport's weather alert system and runway lights were not working. Home surveillance shows the moment the plane went down, a huge fireball lighting up the night sky, burning jet fuel setting fire to more than a dozen homes and cars. And 24 hours after running for their lives, some families are returning to what remains of their homes, trying to process the extent of the damage. ABC's Trevor Ault leads us off from the scene in San Diego.
Tonight, federal investigators revealing new details on that deadly San Diego plane crash. Horrific video showing the moment the jet clipped power lines and slammed into a neighborhood, exploding in a fireball. Late today, the NTSB saying 2 systems were not functioning at the airport where the plane was about to land as the pilot battled heavy fog. The weather reporting system that would have given the pilot landing conditions and the lights that would have illuminated the runway, both out. In his final transmission, the pilot saying he was going to try to land despite low visibility.
All right, that doesn't sound great, but we'll give it a go.
The pilot did not report any problems to air traffic control, and he did not declare an emergency.
The NTSB now confirming all 6 people on that plane were killed. Well-known music agent Dave Shapiro owned the jet. His agency Sound Talent Group saying he and 2 other employees died in the crash. And tonight, as this military neighborhood now picks up the pieces, stories of life-saving heroism on the ground.
Come on, let's go! Let's go!
Go!
Gilbert Gonzalez rushing to help Ben and Srujana McCarty, evacuating their children and 2 dogs to safety after the plane ripped through the front of the family's house.
Climb the ladder! Climb the ladder!
The McCartys returning home today for the first time since that harrowing escape, grateful for their neighbors.
We owe all 6 of our lives to him right now. If it wasn't for him and the other men who just ran up, oh my goodness, he says I'm not a hero, but he really was. He really was. We wouldn't be here right now.
And Lindsay, they've pushed us back here at the scene because right now they are removing some of the debris. The NTSB says this Cessna was not equipped with a flight data recorder, so they're going to have to rely on other evidence to determine exactly what happened here. Lindsay?
Trevor, thank you. Tonight, a stunning announcement from singer Billy Joel revealing he's suffering from a rare brain disorder, which is now forcing him to cancel his concert tour. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, a major health scare for legendary rocker Billy Joel, forcing him to cancel his entire tour. Joel, who was set to kick off a 17-show summer tour starting in Pittsburgh in July, revealing he's been diagnosed with normal pressure hydrocephalus, a rare brain disorder where excess spinal fluid connects deep inside the brain, causing problems with cognitive function like thinking, reasoning, and even walking.
Generally, this is a condition of older people. Between 70 and 79, it's felt to affect about 0.2% of the population, so very rare.
The five-time Grammy winner who holds the records for most shows and most consecutive shows at New York's Madison Square Garden announced a 4-month break from touring back in February after he lost his balance and fell during this show in Connecticut. Writing at the time, while I regret postponing any shows, my health must come first. Lindsay, experts say this is considered treatable and reversible. Joel says he is thankful for the care he's getting and looks forward to hitting the stage as soon as he can. Lindsay.
Sending well wishes to the piano man. Stephanie, thank you. Now to President Trump reigniting his global trade war, targeting America's allies and one of the most valuable companies in the world. The president is now calling for a 50% tariff on the European Union as of June 1st. He's also warning that Apple faces a tariff of at least 25% unless the company agrees to move iPhone production to the U.S. The stock market responding with losses across the board. President Trump pressed about his tariffs potentially costing Americans jobs and money. ABC's Mary Bruce reports from the White House.
Tonight, President Trump reigniting his trade war, threatening to impose a 50% tariff on European products and warning American tech giant Apple it will face a 25% tariff if iPhones aren't fully made in the U.S.
It's time that we play the game the way I know how to play the game.
The announcement injecting fresh uncertainty into the markets, stocks sliding. Trump says ongoing trade talks with the EU, one of our largest trading partners, are, quote, going nowhere. Hoping to light a fire, the president now says that 50% tariff will go into effect a little over a week from now on June 1st.
We'll determine that.
Sir? Is there anything the EU can do?
I don't know. We're going to see what happens. But right now it's going on June 1st. And that's the way it is. No, they haven't treated us properly. They haven't treated our country properly.
And for the first time today, he's zeroing in on an American company, saying he will slap a 25% tariff on Apple if iPhones are not fully manufactured in the U.S., and threatening to do the same to other smartphone producers, too, like Samsung.
The iPhone, if they're going to sell it in America, I want it to be built in the United States. They're able to do that.
But experts say they're not, that fully moving production to the U.S. isn't realistic.
It's a fairy tale that Apple could ultimately take production of iPhones and move that to the U.S. The reality is that it would take tens of billions of dollars even to move 5 to 10% of the supply chain.
That cost then passed on to consumers. By one estimate, manufacturing iPhones in the U.S. could nearly triple its cost, up to roughly $3,500 per phone. Apple has yet to respond, but CEO Tim Cook has already promised to invest $500 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years. But that's not enough for the president.
He said he's going to India to build plants. I said, that's okay to go to India, but you're not going to sell into here without tariffs. And that's the way it is.
As Americans brace for potential price hikes, tonight Trump is facing questions about whether he's profiting off the presidency after his exclusive dinner last night for top investors in his cryptocurrency venture. Critics condemning it as a brazen example of pay for play. More than 200 crypto traders, including many from overseas, spending more than $140 million collectively to gain access to the dinner. We pressed the White House about the ethical concerns.
The Trump family is making money off of this. So can you just explain, how is this not the president using the office to enrich himself?
All of the president's assets are in a blind trust, which is managed by his children. And I would argue one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president back to this office is because he was a very successful businessman before giving it up to publicly serve our country.
And another headline here tonight, the president is clearing a merger between U.S. Steel and Japanese steelmaker Nippon. Trump says that the partnership will create at least 70,000 jobs and add $14 billion to the U.S. economy. But tonight, the details of the deal still remain unclear. Lindsay.
Mary Bruce from the White House for us. Thank you. Now to that rare nor'easter and severe storms disrupting record travel for the start of the Memorial Day weekend. Possible tornadoes and flooding across multiple states. Let's get right to meteorologist Lee Goldberg from our station WABC here in New York. How's it looking, Lee?
Well, Lindsay, that nor'easter, it's slowly loosening its grip on the northeast, but the emphasis on slow. It's still nasty from Albany to Boston. Mount Washington had 4 inches of snow. It's still in the low 50s in Boston. It gets drier and warmer by the end of the weekend. Drier, not in the plains. It's severe storms. Day 1 of 4. Tonight, it's North Platte to Oklahoma City, damaging winds, even some large hail. And still in line for these storms Saturday all the way into Sunday. You're looking at Texas to Alabama, whether it be Oklahoma City, Little Rock, all the way to Birmingham. And it's not just the severe threat, it's the flood threat. Rounds of rain could get half a foot of rain. We'd have flood watches from parts of Missouri into Oklahoma, up to 6 inches of rain. It'll dampen that weekend. Lindsay?
Lee, thank you. Next tonight, authorities across the U.S. on high alert after the deadly shooting outside the Capitol Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. 2 Israeli embassy staffers, a young couple about to be engaged, were shot in the back. Sources say the suspect posted online denouncing Israel for its war with Hamas. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas is in Washington.
Tonight, heightened security at Jewish houses of worship in the wake of the assassination of those 2 members of the Israeli embassy.
No one should be fearful to go to a Jewish event, to go to a synagogue. It's absolutely infuriating.
This as the FBI continues its investigation into the life of suspect Elias Rodriguez, trying to make certain that he's not part of a terror network.
Free Palestine!
We're continuing to investigate and contact the subject's associates, his family members, and co-workers.
Authorities also examining the suspect's social media posts. Sources telling ABC News the suspect had posted about the Israeli-Hamas conflict since 2023, allegedly calling for violence against Israel. A federal criminal complaint laying out chilling details, revealing that the killer fired more than 21 bullets from a 9mm handgun that police say they recovered. The complaint describing surveillance footage that allegedly shows the killer leaning over the couple after shooting them in the back and repeatedly firing. Tonight, family and friends heartbroken. Yaron Lashinsky, a dual German-Israeli citizen, and his girlfriend, Sarah Milgram, who was originally from Kansas, about to be engaged. Lashinsky had just bought the ring last week.
Yaron was the kind of guy that would have conversations with anybody about anything.
Sarah was so empathetic and talking about how the people in Israel are suffering, the Palestinians in Israel are suffering. She was an incredible person.
The suspect, who police say confessed to killing the couple, did not fight being held by bond. He's next due in court in June, Lindsay.
Pierre, thank you. Now to the escalating showdown between President Trump and Harvard University. 24 hours after the administration barred the school from enrolling international students, today a federal judge blocked that order. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
Tonight, the escalating battle between Harvard University and the Trump administration.
Harvard's going to have to change its ways. So are some others.
Today, a federal judge temporarily blocking President Trump's move to ban Harvard from enrolling international students, writing, the university showed it would cause immediate and irreparable injury. The Department of Homeland Security had ordered that existing foreign students at Harvard must transfer or lose their legal status, stating it is a privilege, not a right, for universities to enroll foreign students. Harvard suing the Trump administration, the university's president stating, we condemn this unlawful and unwarranted action. Harvard's former president warning the move will deter the best and brightest from studying in the United States.
We attract extraordinarily talented people, and we are giving that up because of our own choices.
And for now, the future of Harvard's nearly 7,000 international students, about a quarter of the total student body, hangs in the balance.
Still very much in shock, lots of uncertainties right now.
We're being used as poker chips in a battle between Trump and Harvard. It is so cruel.
And Lindsay, a hearing on this is set for next week. This comes as Harvard has also sued the Trump administration for blocking more than $2 billion in funding to the university. Lindsay?
Selena, thank you. Overseas tonight, the incredible images coming in as Ukraine and Russia take what could be a major step towards some semblance of peace. Let's bring in ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell. And Ian, this would be the largest prisoner exchange since the start of the war.
Lindsay, just incredibly emotional scenes have joined Ukraine today as hundreds of prisoners of war were reunited with their loved ones. This is the first wave of up to 1,000 Ukrainians and 1,000 Russians expected to be swapped over the weekend. It's the result of face-to-face meetings held last week. But meanwhile, Russia launching more attacks on Ukraine again tonight. Lindsay, President Trump expressing hope that this prisoner exchange could lead to, quote, something big. But the Kremlin saying there are no plans right now for another face-to-face meeting with Ukraine. Lindsay?
Ian, thank you. Tonight, the UN warns Gaza is entering the cruelest phase of the war between Israel and Hamas, with the supplies now slowly rolling in. UN officials believe at least 600 aid trucks are needed every day to help ease the humanitarian crisis there. The UN clarifying reports about the urgent need for food and supplies in Gaza, saying roughly 14,000 babies are at risk of severe acute malnutrition between now and March of next year. When we come back, the news just coming in, new arrests in that brazen jailbreak in New Orleans with 5 inmates still on the run. And the rescue at sea, the cruise ship, and look at who they found stranded in the water. Next tonight, a 6th person is now under arrest for allegedly helping inmates escape in New Orleans. Trayvon Williams is now facing charges for allegedly helping his fellow inmates in that brazen jail escape 1 week ago. 10 inmates escaped from the jail. 5 are still on the run. And the Rust armor convicted in the fatal movie set shooting has been released from prison. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed was released from a New Mexico facility earlier today after serving more than 14 months. She was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter for her role in the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. When we come back, the rescue at sea, the cruise ship saving 4 people and 3 dogs, and the verdicts tonight in the Kim Kardashian robbery trial, her gripping testimony when we come back. To the index now, the verdicts are in the Kim Kardashian armed robbery trial in Paris. 8 people charged in the 2016 jewelry heist were found guilty. The sentences range from 3 to 8 years, mostly or entirely suspended due to time served. 2 defendants were acquitted. Kardashian thanking French authorities in a statement tonight and calling it the most terrifying experience of my life. And a rescue at sea. A Carnival cruise ship rescued 4 people and 3 dogs stranded in the South Pacific. The ship responded to a distress call on Thursday morning. The mast of the vessel was broken and the motor disabled. Fortunately, everyone's okay. When we come back, America strong, just like Dad, a father and son, and the emotional moment in the courtroom. Finally tonight, America strong. Father's Day came early in one Detroit courtroom. While courtrooms often conjure images of crime or an infraction,
I will maintain the respect due to the courts. I will maintain the respect due to the courts.
This legal proceeding in Detroit last week was a celebration. Chief Judge David Braxton of Wayne County Probate Court swearing in his own son, David Braxton Jr., as an attorney.
When I gave the oath, I almost cried, and to see him standing here, I just had all these flashes of my baby is now a man, married, children, and now entering on this.
Just trying to focus on not crying.
Since he was a young boy, David Braxton Jr. has looked up to his dad, who became a judge in 2015.
It was my dream, but my dream, I didn't want to try to make their dream.
David Braxton Jr. had a dream of his own, to follow in his father's footsteps and one day be sworn in by his dad.
When I used to study in law school and studying for the bar, I used to just dream about it and think about it all the time.
A special moment that's garnered more than 1 million views on TikTok and Instagram.
People started reaching out to me on Instagram DMs and TikToks and asking for words of advice and things of that nature.
Turns out there's some truth to the old adage, like father, like son. Attorney Braxton said he'd ultimately like to be known as Judge Braxton. Apple doesn't fall far. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Lindsay Davis. For David and all of us here, good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.